morning, this is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com, and tonight I am doing a gap down review from Friday, January 11th. This was the AEO. Now this is an interesting chart here. All right, I'm looking at what happened today. Let's just go over Friday first. Actually, let's go over Thursday. Thursday, this had a move in it and was in play. All right, I know it ended the day with a bottoming tail with a green head, but this had a move in it Thursday. Okay, I'm going to go over it. Had the continuation down on Friday. Really nice bar. Target was $19, got within 7 cents of it. And now today had this green bar. This is going to wiggle and jiggle here. This is going to wiggle and jiggle. Still like the stock lower. All right. Remember, the day that it gapped was in here on Thursday. High was $19.99. Beautiful trade in here. Could have taken this right off the open. I was doing the ARO, so I didn't get this on Friday. But boy, this was so nice. Chart-wise, this chart on Friday was beautiful. Okay, I was watching it this day, Thursday, went back in it later than the day on Friday and saw what it did, and I said, wow. I saw it somewhere in here and could have shorted it again, but by that time I knew it was almost at the target, which was 19 bucks. Now today I know it went green, and that's okay. All right, chart's still nice, and the chart's still lower. All right. So let's go and look and see what this did on Friday, the 11th here. Now, remember, the gap went and dropped on Thursday, had the follow through, turned around and flipped. You got to take targets and stuff. I mean, you can't be in stuff forever. And the gap was good, okay, but it wasn't like phenomenal, all right? So you're playing for a move and you're booking the money. You make the money, you book the money, you stop. That's what you do. Okay, that is the goal as a trader. Anyways, on the morning of the 11th, what does this thing do? This thing had really no setup in here. It was kind of thin on the open and a little bit sloppy. If I have to tell you what the entry is, really it was here, but it was really thin even to take at that point. And kind of sloppy in here with these tails. The real entry, though, was as soon as it opened and went back up to 96. As soon as this bar tried to go up and couldn't go any higher, you short it and put the stop over here. And you give it a couple pennies, and basically the stop really should be $20 even. That's it. And you're in it, okay? And if you get then this here, you can add in this, and you take it down. The thing bled all morning. This was a beautiful trade. And like I said, I did notice it at one point then, after I was done with the ARO, that you could have taken it in here. Actually, you know, the risk to reward was here, really. I mean, the entry on this was $19.39, and the target was, you know, the target was 40 cents away. But with a 5-cent risk and 40 cents, that was worth it. That was worth it. I don't know why I didn't press it at the time. After the ARO, was just so happy. I didn't want to take another trade on Friday morning, but this thing worked. This thing had the risk to reward in it. There it was, all right? And $19 was the target. But the great entry, the ones I'm always looking for, the ones I love, like the one I did in the ARO was here when it didn't get over the high of the bar from yesterday, when it closed and did the bottoming tail, and it actually held the whole number here to the penny. All right, that's beautiful. These are the kinds of things that you can actually short then on the day as a swing trade in here and just put the stop over $20. This thing will wiggle and jiggle. These 8 period has to come down on it, the 20, the 50, they'll have to squish down. That's going to happen. It might ding over 20, but I wouldn't panic. The chart's still lower. This was the real day to grab it here. This was such a beautiful chart. And on the 5, let's just look really quick on the 5 on the 11th. Here's the 5-minute. Nicer entry in the 5-minute here. This is after it has the drop. It's just so late for me to get in something around this time frame after it's had, you know, 8, 9 bars down, red bars like that. But I knew the target was $9, all right? And here you get in right here, and you take it down to 19 bucks, or as close as you can get. After something drops down to 12 o'clock, if it's 7 cents away from the target, you got to monitor it and do it bar by bar, and you just got to get out. If it goes 1 penny green over the previous bar's high, just take it. All right, 7 cents away from the target, you know, you have a nice trade in here. And if you're just kind of getting it for a move, for the second move, definitely. Really nice trade in here, really solid. I really like sometimes how these things trade so solid, you know, either the day of the gap or the day after the gap. Either way, whether it's the day of the gap or the day after the gap, the way that they trade so solid really really so nicely with these clean numbers and clean entries. It's the numbers that I'm concerned about. It's the numbers that I'm going after. It's the numbers that I'm watching. It's the numbers that work so beautifully. That's why I love to trade, and that's why I have such conviction in everything I do. All right? Let's quick look at the Thursday trade, which was the 10th. Just see this here. Here was the Thursday trade, and I did call this in my trading room. Slopping here, there's nothing to do. You got to wait. Here was the entry on Thursday, which I did call in the room, which was 1964. That had a nice drop, and really the stop has to be, though, over 72. So you basically have to put it at 1975, which is what I said, all right? And then it dropped down in here. It had a nice 10-cent stop, okay, with a plus 30-cent move. And there it is. It was a really nice trade. And then after that, it rallied up and backed up. Okay, backed up and never could reshort it then the rest of the day because it flipped around and then did a green head with a bottoming tail. But it didn't mean the gap wasn't intact. But here was the morning move on this, and I did call this in the room. This is a nice trade. And then looked like it was going to set up over here in the 15-minute. But, you know, after further consideration, looking at this and realizing it, here's the problem with the 15-minute, you know, I see now. I'm studying this even more. When something rallies over the 8-period moving average, if I started tracking these, I wonder if they never work. The thing is, it should have held under the 8 here to continue lower, and I know it had a green bar here. I wasn't concerned about this. This doesn't look like buying to me. This is just shorts covering. It's a rally. That's fine. The problem is, now that I'm seeing this here, even though it did a 15-minute sell setup and everything looked perfect, 1961 and a half, 1961 to the penny, setup triggered on the 5, the 2, the 1, and the 15-minute into reversal time here, right at 12 o'clock. This all looks great. But you know what? After I go back and have further consideration, this was making a scoop. It was making a scoop in here, and that isn't good. And nothing can make a scoop if it hasn't gone over the 8 or the 20. If it stays under everything with everything pushing down on it, it can't make a scoop. So, you know, looking at this really, really hard here now, this probably was done as soon as this bar happened here. Because when this bar happened, it went over the 8 too much, even though it held a number nicely. Here it was. I mean, here's the resistance right in there. Held a number well, but honestly, this should not make a scoop. Shouldn't make a scoop like that. You know, not if it's going to keep going lower, which on this day, on the Thursday, I thought it was going to make it to $19. It didn't do it in the morning, and then, of course, it never did it in the afternoon, and it flipped and reversed, but it did do it the next day. Nice follow through the next day and was a good trade. All right, so this is AEO from last week on Friday the 11th. And my name's Melissa with the Stock Swoosh. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com. Thanks, and have a great night.